Hey there, guys.
Dum-dum.
I want to do a follow-up video on the new P2P Secure 68P. You guys had a lot of questions that came through in the comments and the email. So hopefully I can address some of them here. And also I want to touch on the shot heard around the world.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
Now, let me give you a little backstory to me in kinetic rounds. Obviously, don't make a habit of doing it. I have taken a couple of Berna SD shots, like direct shots, 12, 13 joules with a Berna kinetic. And the only other shots I've taken were some ricochets, like 40 plus joule ricochets. Obviously, I don't know what the ricochet hit me at, but be darned if it took me down to the ground. So I do have a little bit of history with how it feels, let's just say. Now, I'm more basing this on the Berna SD incident because 12 joules, well, we'll call it 13 joules, and this is 19 joules. A difference of 6 joules. I did not think it would make that big a difference, and I am quite surprised. This bloody thing hurt. Now, I'm a slim guy, right? I don't have a lot of meat on my bones. So, you know, pain is relative. No adrenaline running, things of that nature. Be darned if 19 joules didn't hurt me. You've seen the photos by now in the posts, the community posts. The bruise that I got was pretty significant from a frangible projectile. Now, that was shot at 20 feet by my beautiful wife, who more or less cried before she had to shoot me and might have admitted to closing her eyes when she pulled the trigger. So I don't know if she'll be a good candidate for any future incidents, because I do plan on, taking maybe a solid kinetic at a little bit higher power, but gotta let this one heal first. Would one of these stop me? No. Would 6 consecutive shots stop me, or at least maybe make me rethink my decision or give the other person a chance to get away? I do believe it could. And those are body shots. Now, I was wearing a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, much like I am here, you know, nothing fancy. An intruder may or may not be wearing a leather jacket, for instance. In that case, you know, would 19 joules be adequate? I don't think so. And there's some give and takes here, guys, because I consider this a personal self-defense device. This is something you would carry with you on the go. This is not for home defense. You could use it for home defense if you choose, but there are bigger, better, more powerful things that you would want to use. Being this is marketed as a chemical launcher, using chemicals in closed spaces like in your home isn't really a great idea, because it can actually affect you, collateral damage, and affect your ability to fight back. So in an instance, when we're talking home defense, I'd be going with something like 40 plus, but not to say you couldn't get some face shots with this guy. Gregory over at East Coast less lethal. Why does everybody always have problems stringing those together? East Coast less lethal did a great video showing some tactics, and the big takeaway, man, that I heard in his video stands out amongst everything is it's your life on the line. So you choose what's best for you and what suits your needs. You know, in some places, high power launchers aren't allowed. Chemical rounds aren't allowed. Sometimes neither are allowed, and you're skating this fine line of legality, and that decision is on you. So at the end of the day, I only demonstrate the launchers. I don't tell you what to do. I know what I'm doing. I know what's good for me. We're gonna do this one at a time. So Secure 68P. Probably its direct competition is the Berna LE. I'll try and stack them as best I can here for you guys. So we're gonna go site to site. The LE is just slightly longer. The width on the LE is actually wider if you're measuring from the selector. I'm missing mine on this side because this one is being opened and closed in a constant state as of right now for some tests. But so the overall width is, they're actually identical. It's an optical illusion here. This is fatter up top, but if you're measuring selector to selector, they're the same width. And we'll do an overlay here. Hopefully you guys can get a good look at that. The secure is a little bit longer on the grip, but overall they're really identical in size. Weight. It says this is heavier, or says this is lighter. Probably, you know what? I'm missing my front shroud on this, the Berna boost. So that's possible that it is, the Berna LE is heavier, but in this case, the secure is a little bit heftier. The way my LE is set up. All right, well, next, gavel carry. Go site to site again. Secure is a little bit larger. It's definitely thicker. We'll do the overlay. I mean, this is a 20 gram CO2 in my kit right now. So the length is about the same. Yeah, of course, if I shrunk that down to an 8 gram, it'd be a lot smaller. I mean, this is small. Don't get it twisted. Oh, no pun intended. The carry is smaller, it's lighter, but it holds 5 rounds. The popular kit on the street, Pistol X68. I have an extension on mine right now, and I'm running a Humerex puncture cap, but we'll do width again. These are pretty much about the same width. Length, X68 is longer. We'll do the overlay. If we're doing site to site, it's kind of hard when the grip angles are different, but if we do it this way, you know, obviously we have this larger overhang on the X68, and length, even if I didn't have my extended magazine and this Humerex cap in here, it would still be longer in the grip area. Yeah. Hopefully that helps you guys. What physically, when you look at something, it can look large, but in your hand, it can just feel average. So there's that. Some of you asked about the trigger pull. So pull the Pierce response trigger. Personal opinion, the LE does have a smoother trigger pull, like just by a hair. Neither of these have CO2s in it right now. And I think it's due in part to you're kind of lifting this hammer here. Overall, the trigger pull on the LE is a little bit lighter, I would say. Couple of things. So now I've had this about 400 shots through this. Probably just over 400 shots actually. So I've really been putting it through the ringer. I have picked up on some damage to the detent at the front here. It actually kind of was hanging off, and I just picked the rest of it off. So now, you know, when I did that test and I was slapping my magazine, the balls do want to come out if I do that. The detent is pretty easy to replace. It just really pushes in and pops out like that. So I'm gonna probably have to pick up some of those. Or you fancy printers, 3D printers out there, this would be a good one for you to do in TPU, I'm assuming. To maybe make a more durable detent. And I did put a couple of drops of lubricant on this, actually when it was brand new out of the box, just to kind of give it a helping hand, but it doesn't seem to have really made that much difference, and damage still did occur. Now, 400 shots in, you know, a very short period of time is extreme testing, but it's something to note. All right, now the cocked hammer question. If you watched my video, I spoke about the hammer and, you know, you could cheat and pull it back, but I didn't really elaborate too much into it. You know, I was trying to keep it more about the product, how it was intended to be used. Picture there is a CO2 inside here and you want to cock the hammer. You have to crack the trigger just a little to get the hammer to stick out, and then you can pull it back. Wrong. If you pull that trigger just that much to grab that hammer, it gasses. I will do a demonstration right here, and I'm just gonna waste CO2. Now I'm gonna get really close to the camera so you can actually hear it. Right there, it just punctured. If you could hear that hiss, this is now punctured. Now I'm gonna decock it, hopefully safely. Now I know that mag's empty. Oh, so there is a chance if you're trying to soft decock this that you could actually let off a round. So there's something to be careful about. Now, this is why I say it's not something I would recommend you do. This is unsafe handling procedure. To actually, well, remember, double safety, gotta have the magazine in. So I'm gonna pull the trigger, cock the hammer. Now I'm gonna release the magazine. In this state, loading a CO2 in is not safe. That's not safe handling. Your hand is in front of the barrel here. Obviously you need the magazine to tighten this, so it should be out of your launcher, but maybe you got a 9-round magazine and you're just using a spare magazine to tighten this down. This is not a good idea. Do what you will, but this is not a recommended method to load and arm your launcher. Now let me just put some rounds in here and let's see what that first shot does. CO2 is not punctured. Hammer is cocked. I have 8.8 gram Gladiator rounds loaded up in here. So let's see what it fires on the first shot. .196. What an interesting turn of events. Cocked hammer. I was fully expecting this trigger to come all the way back and break and then fire. But no, it did not. With the hammer cocked, the hammer was still heavy, the trigger was still heavy, and it punctured about at the 1/4 inch mark here and fired. Did I see increased velocity over an initial first full trigger pull? Yes. But you could do the same thing just by cracking your trigger and gassing your launcher. It goes back to safety here, guys. I'm telling you, having your hammer cocked and loading a live CO2 and then stuff can happen. There's a reason they designed it this way. Use it as it was intended. Now, picture this. At the end of the day, you haven't used your launcher, you have your hammer cocked, and you want to decock it. Well, guess what? You have to pull the trigger a little bit to release the hammer, and your launcher is going to gas. And then you're just spending a CO2 anyways. Safety, use it as it's intended. Now let's see what the rest of these rounds are gonna do. 214. 216. 204. 192. 190.